Hi, I am the ThousandPoundPig, and I'm making a different video this time with Smite. This time I am playing as Hun Batz, or Hun Batz. Hun Batz. Yeah. I'm not doing this as live commentary, this is all done in post commentary because there's a few things I want to talk about. So I've put down a little menu on the left hand side, as you'll see, as to what I'll be discussing about, so you can skip forward if you want. But I'll talk about what you can see first. Here I'm playing as Hun Batz, and I quite like him as a jungler. I played him a lot back when he was Sun Wukong, before the new Sun Wukong was released. So I got a lot of experience playing with him. The only thing which was really changed was his ultimate. You know, you put down a little pillar and it scares everyone. Probably the best ultimate in the game at the moment, because it's just so versatile. You can use it to catch up to people, you can use it to just crowd control them, to make them come towards you or get them away from you, to save teammates, which is recommended as soon as you hit level 5 with Hun Batz. You should be ganking someone with that ultimate. But the build is basic Bumper's Mask, Warrior Tabby, and a few items. I chose to do Heartseeker with Hun Batz because I think he is pretty good at escaping, especially with his ultimate. You can use that to escape with as well, of course. And I also gave him Titan's Bane and Deathbringer. I believe his basic attack animation is really slow, I think, so I just prefer to do more damage per hit rather than try and get a critical strike every single chance because he attacks so fast, like Naja or Mercury. So I gave him Titan's Bane, and he has that penetration against tanks, so I recommend building him like that. But this was a really good game. You see we did pretty bad in the early game, and then there was a bit of a twist halfway through, so if you keep watching you'll see that. But it was a really fun game, that's why I'm showing it. So there's a few things I wanted to talk about. First off is the meta. The meta of the game is something which is really important for MOBAs. A lot of people don't understand it, because why would they understand? A lot of people play games for fun, and a lot of the time the meta is used competitively. Which the meta, how do you learn the meta? That's the problem going around at the moment. The meta seems to come from competitive players. People watch competitive players, they learn off that. Like, sometimes Thor can be the best god, and sometimes he can be the worst god. At the moment he isn't so used so much in the competitive scene, but you know, just a few months ago he was, and everyone was playing as him. That's the meta. At the moment the meta in the early game is pretty important because it's trying to be as efficient as possible in the jungler, so it's very important for junglers. So like what lane you start off in. In this game you would have noticed that I started off at the Gold Furies. I was a jungler and the solo lane was on the right, so I started at the Gold Furies. The middle lane and the solo lane on the right also should have been there. So the route is we get the Gold Furies, the middle lane can go into the middle lane right after that, while the solo lane and jungler go get blue. They go straight to blue. Everyone seems to ignore the red buff now. Sometimes they will help you get the red buff. I prefer getting the blue buff before the red buff now because, you know, the other team does invade, and as you saw, the other team did invade and they kicked our ass. Sometimes they do that, sometimes they're a bit smart. Like this team, they knew, you know. They got our blue and they killed both of us, the assholes. I didn't even get red buff, and the solo lane didn't get blue buff, so we were at a huge disadvantage. I died and the solo lane died, so we were down in levels. And they had invaded. They got 2 kills for that and a bunch of experience. So like I said, we had a bad early game. You know, I should be more defensive, but I don't know, I was kind of pissed that they stole our blue buff like that. You know, I just wanted to damage them. But the jungler should stay alive and even escape if the solo lane can't keep their blue. They should go get the red buff, then the Furies down the bottom, and then go over to the other side of the jungle. Meanwhile, at the start of the game, the duo lane should be together. If the duo lane is on the right hand side of the map, they should be with the middle lane at the Gold Furies. If the duo lane is on the left hand side of the map, which they were in this game, then they should be at the blue camp together. They should be getting their blue camp and then going straight to lane, or they could be invading the other team's blue camp, which is what I like to do as a duo lane. And then they go to the lane. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic there, but you can see how the jungler needs to know the meta. Basically, solo lane sticks to their side of the jungle, duo sticks to their side of the jungle, middle lane gets the little Furies in the middle, jungler has to know what they're doing with the meta. But what I should talk about is the solo lane a bit, because the solo lane meta has changed a bit. Now, the jungler is expected to help out the solo lane in the very early game. Like I'm talking about, get the blue buff, maybe get the red buff or the speed buff, and help that solo lane straight away. Don't wait, go back to base, get the little furies, get some gold, or go get more buffs. You should be helping that solo lane, because in the solo lane, for like the first 5 levels, the other jungler will stay there as well. So it's a bit of a duo lane. So there will be 2 duo lanes in the early game. I think this has changed because bruisers are getting bullied by all these mages. There's mages like Chang'e, Ra, Ao Kuang and stuff doing in the solo lane, just out pushing any bruisers in the game. So it's a bit unbalanced in the early game, because the bruisers, they just constantly take damage, and if they take damage by themselves without that support of the jungler, they just get out pushed. They can't get the money and they lose their lane. So the jungler needs to help out the solo lane in the early game. But when it is safe to do so, when there's no more lanes to farm and you have a bit of a break in that lane, get back in the jungle and go farm. Get the little furies, go get a buff, and get to the other side of the jungle and start your normal jungle route, and leave the solo lane as that solo lane. But just remember to keep giving them the blue, especially if they're a bruiser. You need to rotate well on the solo lane. I love that piece of teamwork where the solo lane goes back to base. You should be in that solo lane protecting that tower, and you just keep rotating like that. What I also want to talk about is the bruisers. Which the bruisers are an interesting topic at the moment, especially with Guardians still in the game. Hi-Rez haven't released Guardians for a long time. The last Guardian was Get, but before that there was at least a 6-month date between Guardians, which the Guardians in the game are basically... They're another word for tanks. They have a high bunch of health, they have a ton of utility like Ymira or Athena, and they're good at crowd controlling and soaking up damage. But hardly anyone picks them, which is why I think the meta has been changing. People pick support characters instead. They pick Hell or Sun Wukong or Fenrir is starting to get a lot of attention in the dual lane as a support. What's with that? They're not people aren't building Fenrir as a carry or a jungler. A lot of people now are building Fenrir as support, which is really weird. But that's popular. It's less common in the league mode where tanks are used a lot more. But there is definitely a rise in people picking bruisers instead of tanks. It seems like tanks are being phased out of the game, which I don't know about that. They'll always have a role, but tanks are they're losing their popularity, especially with hardly any of them in the game at the moment. Hi-Rez just don't care. They just keep adding bruisers and mages and assassins. Everyone wants gods which can do damage, it seems. And that doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. Geb, he doesn't seem to be a tank built for Conquest mode. He's an incredible tank for Arena mode, not Conquest. So is that what they're trying to build gods for? I don't know. But like I said before, the meta is changing. It's constantly changing, and it's hard to keep up to date with it. Dota 2, League of Legends, Heroes of Newerth and all that, the meta changes even after the game is released. Every few months the meta changes just based on new findings, number crunching, statistics, testing, and god balance and all these things. You can't predict the meta. It is the meta. It is the end game, So how did this come about? Once again, it's competitive, All these competitive teams, they take it so seriously, they practice, they find out efficient routes, they do this, and people just copy that. And people expect that, and people expect everyone to know that, even though some people just aren't interested in the competitive scene. Some people just play the game for fun and just aren't interested in kills or winning. Which, why should you be? If you're having fun, you're having fun. You can mess with that formula if you want, but some people just aren't. Some people just don't care. A lot of people in MOBAs, they don't understand that. They believe you should compete or get out. I'll talk more about that later on. The biggest problem with the meta is not everyone knows it. If you watch my last video where I played as Bastet, you'd see that Hercules was being a bit of a brat in the game. He was playing the meta, I admit that, but he was being a brat about it. I didn't know the meta at the time. It seemed to just changed overnight all of a sudden, and I was a jungler in that video, and he expected me to help the solo lane. At the time I was like, yeah, okay, I should be helping the solo lane, but I shouldn't be laning with him, which is what is expected now. But he expected me to know, and after what information of it going around, there's no official videos. Competitive videos are everywhere, which you can watch them, but the meta isn't explained. You know, people just say, watch this competitive video, watch this competitive video, watch this one, and this and this. You know, there's no one explaining why the meta has changed, how it has changed, what's in store in future. It's just, you know, the game changes so fast that who can make a video like that? You know, I made this video to explain the meta, which is why this isn't live, because I actually need to think about all this stuff, which, you know, I'll just be getting smashed even more if I was talking about this live, and I'd be getting distracted like I usually do. God. But you can't predict the meta, you know. If someone is doing something a bit weird in the game, don't call them an idiot, don't call them a noob or some kind of douchebag, you know. Help them, teach them. Not everyone watches competitive matches. You know, not everyone lives the game. How are we all supposed to live the game? You know, we all have lives outside of this. We can't constantly watch competitive matches. If this community is gonna grow, we need to help each other. We can't all be idiots and try to scare off new players. New players are the growth. New players are the future. I hate the word noob. I hate it. We should be encouraging new players to play these games we love and get them into this whole meta mode, so we can play the games we love with them, and they don't have to be these huge pains in the asses. You know, these games should be fun, but it also brings up the question of, should MOBAs be fun? What are MOBAs made for? I saw a quote the other day. MOBAs need to be played to win. You can't play MOBAs for fun. Which I obviously disagree. I play this for fun. You know, I get 350, 300, 320 ping all the time. This is unplayable lag for me. You know, I'm trying to make all these videos to help people, but obviously I can't show what I want to all the time, because it's hard to lead targets, it's hard to dodge Agni ults, it's hard to use the Agni ult and stuff where I'm told I have unplayable lag because it's over 300 ping. It's not my fault I'm in Australia, but Hi-Rez just choose not to support this, which I'll talk more about that later, because the game is planned to be released pretty soon. I do understand that MOBAs are a very competitive game. Dota, League of Legends, those are like some of the most competitive communities in games at the moment. Especially League of Legends, where it is now called an official sport by a lot of companies. You know, there's huge sponsorships, there's huge rewards, even trophies given to the winners, teams built around it. I find that interesting. I'm not so interested in the game, but I find that whole interesting. You know, if League of Legends can be a sport, then other games can be a sport. It's just a matter of time before the next game. You know, what's next? StarCraft, maybe Dota 2, maybe the next Counter-Strike and Titanfall. You know, the sky's the limit. I admit I do find myself more competitive while playing Smite more than other games. I think that's just because the way the game is, you know. These games can last up to 50 minutes each round for Conquest mode, which is considered the main mode in MOBAs, even in Smite. So yeah, I don't want to waste that time. I like to win, but I like having fun more. If I have something fun to do, you know, I'll do that. But the problem is, I'm in a team. I don't want to let my team down by being too stupid. It's a weird balance. You know, I love team games. So what's that balance? It's up to the individual, it seems. But I can't lie and say that I don't see the logic in that original quote of it being built for competitive play instead of fun. You know, even the Hi-Rez community manager gets really competitive and shouts and seems to get really angry with the people he plays with. I mean, this is the guy being paid to support the community, and we're all looking at him as a role model, and he's shouting at other people who play the game with him. Games are an escape from reality. They're a time to relax, not to put all this stress on. It's more important to compete in real life. You know, have fun in a game, play to win if you like that, if you find that fun, but don't bring the stress to it. Teach other people. Everyone loves feeling helpful, you know. Everyone loves learning things when it's to do with something they enjoy. Just chill out, have some fun. The game is nearly out. The game will be released on March 22nd. That's this year. The game has been in open beta for 2 years, which is insane when you think about it. The game still does have a lot of issues, mainly at the moment server issues, which ever since they have announced the release date, server issues have been just on the rise and just gone through the roof. You know, people are getting kicked for over 500 minutes for deserting instead of just 60 minutes, which they admit is a bug. You know, everyone knows it's a bug, but all these bugs are popping up all of a sudden. So they're obviously trying to polish the game off, but it seems to be getting worse with the connection issues with the game. So I can only hope that this is a good thing now, so the SMITE launch is much better. But there's still only a few servers for this game. You know, Americans in the West Coast, they complain quite a bit about lag. Don't get me started on my lag, which I'm in... No, fuck it, I'm gonna get started. I'm in Australia. I have 300, 350 ping. You know, there's those in East Australia, there's much more in East Australia, which get over 250 ping on average. Why don't we have a decent server? Why doesn't West America have a decent server? And Australians will go through that connection. We'll go through West America for that connection. We'll have slightly better ping. Why not? Come on. I've given them the benefit of the doubt so far. Playing this game because I love the mythology, I love the gameplay, the gods and all this. I love the constant updates. But I have found zero evidence with an Australian server. Zero. Which even after getting this new Tencent deal and everyone's saying, oh, if you want an Oceania server, Tencent will organize it. Why haven't Hi-Rez organized it? Why hasn't there been any pressure? Why hasn't there been any evidence from Tencent or Hi-Rez about supporting an Australian server? There hasn't been anything like that. You know, Tencent are Chinese. I understand that. You know, they want to support their own community first. That's fine. There's been no support for Australia in this game. You know, games such as Loadout and all these games which are cheaper to make are coming out with Australian servers. Why haven't we got Australian servers in SMITE? I don't understand. I'm really fighting to stay in this game because I've enjoyed it, but I'm really running out of options to appreciate this developer's efforts. As far as the release is concerned, I don't know what they're going to do. I hope they will release a bunch of new servers, but I don't see why they would be holding off on that. Once they have a server, why not put it up immediately instead of waiting for, oh, here's a new... Alright, the game is out, new servers everywhere. I don't know if they're going to be advertising it a lot. It doesn't seem so. They are planning a competitive tournament to be the big launch tournament, but again, that's the competitive focus of the game. I don't think that's going to bring too many new people into the game, which is what the game wants. The game needs new people for its growth. I do know that the gods being made will come out less often, which there's still gods which need to be updated, such as Ao Kuang, Bastet, I heard Zeus. As far as the models of their character, they want them to be adjusted or updated with better graphics and, you know, plus there's all these new gods. That's why I like sticking with this game in the open beta, because they have a new god once every 2 weeks, roughly. Sometimes it's once every 3 weeks, but it's mostly, they have been trying to stick to once every 2 weeks, which now it's going to be once a month. Which even then, once a month, it could just be, oh, let's just decide to give Ao Kuang a new model for this month instead of introducing this new god, which kind of sucks. You know, I want as many new gods as possible. I want to see all these new god designs. It's awesome. But they're definitely going to slow down with that. I don't know what they will be working on instead, but I do hope they support this game once it is released, because I love it. So there's my rabble. There's a bit more of this video, so I'll just let it run a bit. I have been fast forwarding this video as well as I have been doing others, because a lot of my videos are just long when I talk through them, when it's all live as well. But of course this was post commentary instead of live commentary. Do you prefer this? If you prefer this, let me know, post in the comments, thumb it up, share it around, and I'll make more like this in the future. And if you want me to play any certain gods, let me know. I am going through all 50 gods at the moment, so I've done a few so far, which you can see just by going to my channel and clicking on the SMITE playlist. So I'm trying to go through each god at least once. But if you're going to stick around, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, because it was a pretty fun game. We did have a bad early game, but at the moment we are pulling it back. I don't want to spoil it. So hope you enjoy the rest of it, and I'll see you next time.
Your middle tower is under attack. No break lane. Yeah, no break lane. Your right tower is under attack. An ally has been slain. No! Retreat middle lane! Retreat middle lane! An ally has been slain! An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Justice!
On my way.
World
On my way, slain. Be careful. Attack! Middle lane! Attack! Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower. A mighty sword! That's the thing! Be right back, careful! Retreat middle lane! Be careful! An ally has been slain! An ally has been slain! Your left tower is under attack. Be careful of that. An enemy has been slain.
I shall rise
An
again.
ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Let me bear down upon you.
Defend the fire giant. I'm building stacks. An enemy has been slain. has been slain. An ally has been slain. Double kill.
The end of the world is
An ally
near.
has been slain.
Deicide. Souls to me.
Out the pit left lane. Pull up. Attack the Titan. Attack the Titan. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Help! Retreat! Attack left lane! Attack left lane! An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Be careful. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain. Slain an enemy. An ally has been slain.
It is not going to remove the first layer of the tortillas, or pimples will appear on your face.
An ally has been slain. Aye.
Safe awful. The world.
You have been slain. Upon me. An ally has been slain. On my way. Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower. Be careful. An enemy has been slain. On my way.
Of the world.
You have an ally has been slain. Retreat! 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 attack. Quiet. Your left tower has been destroyed. That's too bad. Your middle phoenix is under attack. Good game. Attack. Good game. Old Fury. Your middle phoenix has been destroyed. No. Good game. Yes. Your right tower is under attack. Group up. Group up. Your right tower has been destroyed. Attack.
My own hubris knew about better.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. No. No. Woohoo! 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 Good game. Good game. Your right phoenix is under attack. Retreat! Double kill. An enemy has been slain. Attack middle lane. Triple kill. Attack. Retreat. Attack. An enemy has been slain. Attack. Attack. Attack the Titan. Your team has destroyed a middle enemy base. Has been slain. Deicide. Attack! Woohoo! Good game. Good game.